Every time I play Victoria 3 on this channel, there's always some comment that says something like, blink twice if Paradox is holding you in their basement against your will. And honestly guys, it's not that bad down here. On an unrelated note, we're playing Zulu. There's actually some pretty interesting history when it comes to the Zulu. We're not at the time of Shaka Zulu, we're a little bit past that. Shaka was the actual half-brother, I think, of the current guy, Prince Dingane. And this guy actually conspired to murder Shaka, so that's the guy we're playing as right now. Or at least the guy in charge of the country. And historically, after the period where Shaka implemented a bunch of military reforms and turned the Zulu into an empire, they didn't really do all too much afterwards. They did have a civil war, and then the British came and invaded, and then eventually annexed the Zulu into the Cape Colony. Despite the military reforms, the military was interesting to learn about, but still not quite up to par with what you'd call a professional army, and that is reflected in the game. Still, we have peasant levies, and frankly, our laws suck. So we have to work on fixing that, but to fix that, we're going to need to also industrialize, and fortunately, Zululand does have coal, and what's next by is a bunch of iron and more coal, and also gold, but that's not going to show up for a little bit. So the first thing we actually want to do is just go ahead and conquer people, but of course, that's going to cause a bit of a problem, because Britain doesn't like us, and Britain does like the Boer colonies. Or not colonies, just the Boers. But yeah, we also start with, like, no technology, so that's cool. Hey, we at least have standing army, that's something. I think if we want to get anything done here, we're gonna have to go for military drill, mandatory service, and then who knows. At the very least, we can grab a few logging camps, cotton plantation, and then maybe a construction sector. I was gonna say, yeah, let's not forget decrees, and then we have two. So for whatever reason, Britain has decided they actually don't want to help these guys, which is cool with me. Let's see what we can do. We're going to immediately mobilize and raise the conscripts, and we'll bump up wages. In theory, as long as Britain doesn't get involved, same thing with Portugal, please, then we should be able to annex them, no problem. Okay, maybe like slight problem. Problem fixed. There you go, first conquest of the Zulu Empire complete. We're gonna incorporate this because it will get gold later on at some point. Just to alleviate any of the pains, we're also going to maybe, I don't know, encourage agriculture, all this stuff. Now, Britain's not too happy with us taking that land. Still domineering towards us. I guess they just didn't care that much about Freistaat. Not quite the same thing for Transvaal, though. That's a little too risky. Looks like the landowners are seeking to beef with Transvaal, which is totally fine with me, since we will be annexing them soon enough. Construction's going a little bit slow because we can't hire enough people. We can't hire enough people because we don't have qualifications. And we don't have qualifications because, well, we have a 7% literacy rate. If I bring more people into the government, maybe I can change that? No, of course we can't change that. We don't know what research is. We literally don't have rationalism. Okay, yeah, maybe that's a better idea, actually, after military drill. Well, anyway, we're still going to try and enact professional armies. Still probably can't invade Transvaal, though. Portugal would probably get involved. Wait, how strong even is Portugal? 217... or 177. You know what? Even if Portugal got involved, that wouldn't even be that bad necessarily. I mean, we could give it a shot at least. Oh, and Portugal didn't join. Interesting. Okay. Unexpected, but I'll take it. So we're gonna grab the pillager, actually, because the kill rate is pretty high. And this guy's just gonna hang back and defend if anything goes like really poorly, which it probably will for at least the first battle. Or maybe not. Okay, Zulu army starts off a little stronger than I gave him credit for. Oh, also, we're at plus 23% on the grain price here. So it's a little evil, but I am going to maybe just do this for a quick second. Increase that price all the way up to 26%, which gives us corn laws. And maybe that was already there and I didn't pay attention, but that's alright. Now that we have corn laws, we'll get some event with a guy that'll like radically change the country, and that'll be nice. Like, right now. So this guy is going to be a market liberal, and we can put him in charge of the landowners. So now with a market liberal in charge of the landowners, they are totally fine with getting rid of serfdom. And since they don't really care whether we go to tenant farmers or homesteading, we'll just go straight to homesteading. On the bright side, having all this authority that we can't really spend does make this faster. So I can't complain all too much. Again, we're just going to go with more decrees, making sure we keep people as happy as possible. And how about we stop exporting grain, maybe? Oh, that's interesting. So these guys are actually line infantry from Transvaal. So if we incorporate them into our army, then we don't actually need to research line infantry. We'll just have a couple of them. And we just need to get a couple of arms for them. Now, I can't say for sure whether or not the Marina Kingdom is going to get involved in this, At the very least, Portugal won't, Great Britain won't, maybe Marino will. That would be kind of awkward, but still, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So we're gonna take it. Yeah, it's really interesting that now, for some reason, some countries that say that they definitely will, or are kind of close to saying they will, are now looking at the weakness of their army and saying like, actually, no, we're not gonna do that. Which is weird. I think it's what happened with Portugal last time too. They looked at the situation after I started the play and they're like, actually, no, we're not gonna get involved. Even though they had plus 14 before I started the play. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's a recent update thing I wasn't paying attention to. I don't know. But at the very least, we have bureaucracy and we have manufactory, so we can start actually making things. That's cool. And also, we got rid of serfdom. We now have homesteading. So that means we can change our economic system as well, because traditionalism is kind of cringe. We have our two options, interventionism or laissez-faire. And frankly, I'm kind of leaning towards laissez-faire only because the investment pool would be kind of nice to have. You know, the plus 25% from the capitalists and the shopkeepers, probably a decent idea. And it's not like we really have the bureaucracy to keep anything government-owned anyway, so this is fine. Okay, pro-country lobby for Britain. Probably would be a decent idea. 15% technology spread, minus 10% authority for 5 years, and we warm up to Britain a little bit. I think that's a decent idea because, God, we need technology so bad. We have, like, nothing. On the bright side, though, we can build ports and shipyards, so the infrastructure problem should be able to solve itself a little bit. And then, of course, once we get urban planning, that should help it out a little bit more. Yeah, so I really don't feel like spending more money, and I don't care that much, so I'll just take that infamy. It's fine. Laissez-faire unlocked. Perfect. And we can establish a company. I think we're going to go with forestries because that gives us a little bit of infrastructure pretty much for free. But it does mean we're going to need to have prosperous logging camps, which is going to be tough because they're not even working at full capacity. We don't have enough people. One of the big shortcomings of playing Zulu is you have nobody. And even when you conquer everyone around you, you still have almost nobody. And unless I'm invading Portugal, who should still have that historical alliance with Britain, although I guess they don't. But their independence is guaranteed by Spain. So we're probably not invading the Portuguese colonies anytime soon, no matter how much weaker of an army they have. I don't know about that one, Britain. See, this is a bit of a tough one, because we could join the British Empire, and we would get access to the market, and the market's pretty cool, you know, cheap goods for industrialization and whatnot. You know, guaranteed customers, kind of. And maybe some immigration. However, trying to leave this power block is going to be pretty much impossible, and I'm going to have to pay them like 35% of my income or something, and that's going to suck. On the other hand, it could be helpful, because maybe they'll help us invade Portugal. So, can't discount the possible opportunity. You know what, sure, maybe they'll do technology sharing with us or something, I don't know. Oh yes, we could definitely use schools at this point. Although the bureaucracy's not gonna take that very lightly. So maybe we should get a little bit more... Well, we do need taxation capacity in one of these places, I think. We'll put one down like here's fine. Oh, guaranteeing our independence. Thank you, Britain. Although I don't think that's exactly what we need right now. Defensive pact as well? These guys are really trying to rizz me up. Sheesh. Trade agreement with Britain. Well, I guess that wouldn't really matter that much. Let's say yes to that, but I'm not going to do it for an obligation. There we go. Foreign investment rights is maybe where I'll draw the line for Britain. We have a movement to change from national supremacy to racial segregation, which is an improvement. So I think I'll go for it, because we're going to need a lot of migrants. A lot of people to move to Zulu, because frankly, just there aren't a lot of people here. Although, we could maybe build one university. We'll just have to import paper, which isn't so bad, really. I didn't quite consider this, but interestingly enough, Spain actually can't get involved in these plays, even though they are guaranteeing the independence of Portugal, and I don't know why. Spain is nowhere to be found, which is fine with me, because Portugal has an extremely weak military, like, even more than usual, so if I can, I really wouldn't mind just grabbing all 3 of these colonies, actually. In fact, it seems like Portugal's allies are actually stronger than Portugal, so Macron and Siak are both stronger than them. Interesting. Oh shoot, right, so we actually don't have an interest up here, meaning that we can't take anything more than this, which kind of sucks. Like, we can't even declare another interest, so that's gonna be the one state, and that's it. In fact, as of the new update, I don't even think we can go for war reparations, because war reparations require you to take the capital. Yeah, not happening. Oh, alliance with Britain, you say? If they insist. What a timeline. The Zulu armed forces are like, hey, those British guys, they're doing a pretty good job at making an empire. Maybe we should copy their tactics. And they're right. We should. Really surprising though, you know, you go to war with Portugal, Portugal themselves has 139 power projection. All of Portugal's colonies and allies though, totally have their back. 13 from Macron, 10 from Siak, 5 from Majertine. I don't even know who these guys are, but they do like Portugal a lot, especially the Portuguese colonies. Big fans of Portugal owning colonies, apparently. Fortunately, we're holding off in the north and we are pushing a little bit in the south. It's not very easy, but we do have our vanguard, which is the line infantry that we technically kind of stole from the Boers. And weirdly enough, these guys pushing down here is more than enough to take this entire state. I don't know why, don't ask me. But we should be able to just move the guys up north and then sit there for a while and at least take this one state. Finally, shaft mining. It only took, what was that, 12 years? But now we can finally dig up some iron and start making some tools. Actually, no, we can't even make tools yet, because like, what are we going to use them on? Never mind. Portugal's willing to hand over the colony, so we'll take it. And now we can declare a single interest, yippee! So I'm going to change this construction sector over to iron frame buildings. Obviously, that's going to be a problem, because we don't have tools or iron. But at the very least, it will create a demand that we can maybe temporarily fix by importing a little bit of iron and a little bit of tools. And then the fact that those things are expensive should probably incentivize the capitalists to be like, hey, we would make money if we built these things. Maybe we should build them, at least in theory. Also, if I change away from encouraging agriculture to encouraging resource, then maybe they'll look at the throughput and be like, wow, we would make more money by building anything other than agriculture. Seriously, it's an issue. They just really like building agriculture, and honestly, that's probably my fault. Well, it's not iron, but it's something, I guess. The private sector seems a little bit incompetent and unable to actually industrialize, so I'm gonna have to do that for them, I guess. Which kind of sucks, because it's really gonna drain the economy, and oh my god, no, we can't even afford that, to be honest. Alright, Britain has enacted Market Unification 3, which means, yep, we are now in the British market, yippee! We should have access to cheaper goods for industrialization and whatnot, so we should be able to actually build up the country. A lot of our people are no longer peasants, so we're gonna move away from our land-based taxation to per capita. If possible, looking kind of unlikely, but we'll give it a shot at least. We're pretty easily now able to swap over all of our construction sectors to the next level. So the private sector has plenty of money to work with, plenty of things to build, and it's pretty much our job, because we're probably going to end up a subject of Britain, to privatize the economy as much as possible. Because eventually Britain is probably going to take a decent amount of our income. So government dividends will be stolen from us, but you can't steal money from the private sector. There we go, per capita taxation, which will complete our transformation into pretty much a modern country. Just don't look at anything over here. There we go, we've opened up a university in the capital, which I didn't know I had to build in the capital. Wait a second, we already had a whole university. Okay, it doesn't matter, whatever. University building throughput would kind of mean nothing to us for the next 5 years, I think. So we'll just go for this. And we can start trying to pass charity hospitals. We gotta get that mortality down so we can get the birth rate up. Ooh, 20 prestige. We could use 20 prestige, actually, yeah. That'll bump us up to an unrecognized regional power, which will give us our interest back. We should be able to go to war with Portugal again. This time, though, we'd be looking at Dynam intervening, which is kind of weird. I don't know what interest Dynam has as a protectorate of France to ensure that the Portuguese colonies stay in Portuguese hands. That's kind of weird. I mean, I guess they are allies. We've researched line infantry at last, so we should be able to stand up to the Die Viet army, which is actually the more threatening army. If you look at Portugal, they have no army. Okay. Well, the private sector's done a pretty decent job at building up a whole bunch of arms factories and stuff, so a fully upgraded army is no problem for us to handle. Dynam's projection is 361, ours is currently 661, so we should have no problem going after Portugal, I think. If only I had like one boat, I could actually land in Portugal for war reparations. But like, they have almost nothing to give me anyway, their economy is tiny. I don't even know what happened here, they've just collapsed somehow, I don't know. Also, gold has finally been discovered in Transvaal, that's perfect. That's gonna be free money, literally. Look at that, that's perfect. After this, all we should really have to do is build a navy and then hop into Madagascar, and we should actually be able to create, like, a real empire, like a respectable empire, with industry and guns. Lots of guns. We now have charity hospitals, so people should in theory die a little bit less. Population should increase a tiny bit more. Thank you very much, Portugal, for your kind donations. Somehow, we have colonies here, which, You know what, kind of makes sense, because they were Portuguese colonies, weren't they? Well, that kind of sucks, because we have no colonial institutions. Although, I am starting to work on colonization for a few reasons. Mostly because if we do get turned into a protectorate by Britain, then we can gain recognition pretty easily. Although it's been way longer than 5 years since we joined the Empire, and Britain has not subjugated us, which is kinda weird, but okay. France is a little bit preoccupied in a war against Britain, so we might be able to slip in a war against Zanzibar real quick. Bit of a gamble, but we'll see if it works out. That is super funny. I don't know why Britain won't just turn me into a protectorate, but I'm gonna say no to that. I'm still a little bit wary about having to pay Britain a bunch of money. Once we become a subject, it's pretty much game over, because our reliance on their market is way too much. Like, sure, it would give us an opportunity to become a recognized power, because we'll be the subject of a great power that is recognized. But, you know, I kinda don't want to pay Britain 35% of my income. At this point, we're kind of out of land targets to invade. I mean, we're definitely not going after Britain or the Cape Colony. So we're gonna have to build a navy, finally. Even though I've been kind of avoiding it for a while. As we're waiting for that to happen, here's a fun little fact. Out of all the hours I have in Victoria 3, approximately 876 hours, I have not once played Britain, or France, or the USA, or Russia, or Austria, or Prussia, or Qing, or the Ottomans. Did I say Austria? I think I said Austria, or Japan, actually. I haven't played them either. So technically, I have more hours on Zulu than I do on any of the great powers combined. I did once play Marina Kingdom as well, and I played Ethiopia. I played Dynam, at least half a campaign. I did one Joseon campaign when the game came out, and then like half of one on a stream. I've even played Liberia. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but playing major countries kind of feels like you start at the end goal. Like, you're already a great power, congrats, game's over, that kind of thing. We have a bit of an uprising here, but it's not a big deal, because at the very least, it'll get rid of all of the turmoil. There we go, colonization. We should be able to pass at least some law. Not really sure which one I want, though. Because the exploitation, I mean, sure, obviously, this is good for, like, if you take a bunch of colonies yourself. In overseas territories, just like, boom. Bunch of free money. However, migration attraction in unincorporated states could be decent if we decide to set up a couple of states and then open up the borders and then, you know, do that whole thing. We might even be able to get a little bit of migration from, like, the puppets here, maybe? Well, maybe not that one, but, like, British Niger, probably we can get some people, possibly? I don't know, we'll figure something out. For now, we'll go with resettlement. We'll go to exploitation if I feel like it later. Now, the biggest issue for our country is that we're going to be completely reliant on imports of raw materials like lead and sulfur, considering we have none in, well, pretty much the entirety of Africa. See, that's one of the big problems. You want to get sulfur? Too bad. There's nothing here. But you know where there is sulfur? And a country that may or may not be willing to give it up? Well, you know, Japan. Technically in the middle of a civil war. It wouldn't be that hard to invade, I don't think. Hope you don't mind if I just, you know, go ahead and corrupt Shikoku. And Britain would help me. Okay, no, I think we're fine. I think we're okay. Oh my god. They backed down. Thank you for Shikoku. Man, we can't even release a country. I really wish you could balkanize Japan. Turn them back into the clans, but okay. We'll just have to own this directly, that's okay. Right, well, the conquest of Shikoku didn't really do much to our infamy, because they backed down. So I guess we'll have to find somebody else to invade. That victory has given me just enough hubris to think I could invade the Marina Kingdom. We're gonna start with one state, see if they'll back down. If they do, that would be great. Because then later we can go for the other state, but this one won't cost nearly as much infamy. Come on, all they have to do is back down and we should have South Madagascar for free. Well, that sucks. Not the end of the world, just a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, seems like people really want total separation, which is probably a good idea, considering the number of animist pops that could actually move here is pretty much 0. Okay, we're at a bit of an impasse, I guess. Yeah, that's really not good. We're just gonna pretend like that's not happening for a little bit. Okay, unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna be able to fight this civil war. Most of our army is in these states, so they would probably win, first of all. Second of all, this was mostly a stalling tactic anyway, to see if maybe we can just stop doing the law. And then in theory, these guys aren't actually going to cause revolution. And in 25 months, I'll be able to exile that guy. Well, we really just need to, I guess, make the intelligentsia happy? Yeah, if we make the intelligentsia happy, it's not a big problem. We can do that pretty easily whenever we need to, just by raising government wages. So it's nothing to really worry about. Oh my god. It's one of the best events in the entire game. Free law pass. It's a law that I want to pass. And frankly, nobody can do anything about it. This is perfect. Total separation is amazing for us because it's going to allow maybe some migration into our country, possibly. Of course, we're also going to have to, well, eventually get multiculturalism if I want to actually get migration. But that's not going to happen at least until we get feminism, I think. That's quite a ways away. Oh, Japanese secession. Who could have seen that one coming? New prince is in charge. At the young age of 0? I don't even know. 5 years old. Already expensive tastes, of course. Not a huge fan of him being a landowner interest group guy, but jingoist I can kind of live with, especially because I do eventually want colonial exploitation. Okay, perfect, that's wonderful. So it looks like we just got RNG'd out of passing local police force, and if I had to guess, RNG'd into a likely civil war. Yippee! It's not all bad though, we still have about like 30 months until something bad happens. So in the meantime, we can just invade somebody. Perfect, colonial exploitation has now been enacted. I'm thinking that's going to be helpful because I've decided we're just going to conquer all of Japan. If possible, who knows? And the thing is, I can't exactly release Japan as a country, or any of the tags inside of it that could have maybe existed. And I don't think you get the option to set up a colonial nation the same way you could in, say, like, Africa, once you have civilizing mission. So, direct ownership is kind of the next best thing we have. You know what, at this point, maybe I will allow a little bit of foreign investment. I don't think it would be that bad. We've somehow just gotten to the rank of an unrecognized major power, presumably because somebody's in the middle of a civil war, but at the very least, that means we can start earning our recognition. Problem is, it's very hard for us to do this, considering, some of the laws we still have. At the very least, we can ask for an embassy from Britain, which is a decent little bit of progress there, but yeah, we're not gonna get this done for a while. Especially because to get a standard of living in the top 20, or a GDP per capita in the top 20, we would have to not directly own Japan, but we kind of have to. So that's gonna be a little bit complicated. Speaking of which, I don't want to have zero infamy, apparently that's bad, so I might just take more of Japan. Their army's 306, I can't just not invade them, you know? I mean, sure, Joseon will help them, but Joseon's not gonna do anything. And even though these are islands, I'm pretty sure these crossings count as like land connections. So if I took Kyushu, we'd have to spend a lot more convoys, I think, maybe, compared to if I just conquered Chugoku. Now, because Joseon has pretty much no navy, we could probably just get rid of all of their supply, drain their manpower, easily beat Japan. Unless Japan has some, like, crazy number of conscripts. Okay, yeah, they do have a large number of conscripts. I'm sure we'll be fine. Yeah, the enemy has absolutely zero supply, just got decimated in that battle. I think we can probably push. As I had hoped, Joseon has now left, and Japan still doesn't have enough military technology. Japan's willing to give up the war goals, and I'm happy to oblige. That's now 2 provinces in Japan that we own. Now, I think one of the main problems we have is that we're never going to get rid of closed borders or the slave trade unless we get rid of autocracy. Because we just can't form any stable governments without having the landowners in there, and the landowners are kind of annoying. So we can pull in the industrialists, and let's see if we can swap this over to something like either landed or wealth voting. I'm kind of leaning towards landed voting for now, then maybe wealth voting later. I love playing as these countries that have no tech and no money and no population, because we're like 40 years into the game and I've only just now got an atmospheric engine. It's great, I love this. Okay, somehow, Qing has an army power of 185 because they declared bankruptcy. So, I may or may not take the opportunity to take something myself, you know? I wouldn't just be going to war with Qing though, I think I would be going to war with like multiple people, and that's gonna be a bit of a pain, but not a big deal, I don't think. Of course, I'm also going to want those war reps. Might even liberate a country if possible, but that's kind of unlikely. Actually, no, I can figure something out. How about we liberate Yue, maybe? And I don't know, Formosa, sure. I'm kinda hoping that they're gonna back down, but I'm thinking it's probably not likely. Tragic. Not a big deal though, because this strategy is still going to work only because they're so weak. The Navy's no issue for us, and there's hardly anyone actually defending this area, which means we get to land in Beijing for free. Landed voting is complete, so we should have a better chance of introducing the industrialists into the government, at least a little bit easier than before. Might also give us the opportunity to, I don't know, open the borders a little bit in possibly the most anticlimactic war you can imagine. We're gonna release Yue, Formosa, get war reparations, and conquer a province. Now, the thing is, this one province has about the entire population that our country had previously. That's gonna be a bit of a problem, and I may or may not want to just release them as their own country, maybe. See, I'm not big into the whole, like, Victoria 3 meta. I don't know if it's even worth it to release a country as a subject, but all I know is that they're gonna give me free money, and I can just own their entire industry, so I think I'm okay with this. Except I can't even release them. Never mind. Okay, that's cool, I guess. I thought maybe I'd be able to release the country because I took a province, but I guess this isn't a U4. Maybe it doesn't work like that. I don't know. Surprisingly, conquering that one province has put us on par with the Ottoman Empire, and we've taken back our unrecognized major power position. This time, I think it's actually fair, not just because someone's in a civil war. We actually could expand our construction a little bit for the first time in a while. Ooh, Britain has just lost the Raj. Uh-oh. That could complicate things a little bit. The economy is in shambles for having no more opium. Uh-oh. Well, hey, on the bright side, we do have a little bit of a substitute. You know, 17 million population. Not quite capable of growing opium, but hey, silk? We can make silk. Oh my god. So, in an instant, Bengal has become the number 6 great power. With an enormous economy. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Then again, I haven't seen the French Republic take 2 provinces out of the Raj either. It's also kind of weird. There's migration controls. Perfect. We may or may not be able to get a decent amount of migration. Oh, that was fast. Problem is, we still can't exactly employ everybody. That's why I'm building up all this construction. We've been successfully decreasing landowner power for quite a while, but I think we still have to take a few more drastic measures. Like maybe getting wealth voting. Denmark wants to grant us foreign investment rights in their country. I mean, normally I might even say yes, but the biggest problem is that we just have so many unemployed people in our own country. I think I'd rather have the investment pool go towards like employing everybody and then maybe investing in other countries. For the most part, at least. And of course. So I'm like, okay, how about we go for wealth voting? And the landowners are like, what about a coup? This is actually good for us though, because we can very easily just deny the coup. And while we do that, we can crack down on the Conservative Party and all of the people inside of the party. Because I kind of want to bring the intelligentsia in since they are abolitionist. Grand Coalition formed by Bengal. Well, you've seen it here first, folks. A power bloc formed by an Indian country in 1885 with no intervention from the player. Incredible. Truly impressive. Remarkably, this is somehow a functional government, and also, by having these guys in charge, we can make it easier to pass wealth voting. Expose the landowners as traitors to Zulu. See, that would probably start a civil war, to be honest. It doesn't even actually decrease their influence, it just makes them really upset. Maybe we should not radicalize them that much. Because, yeah, that's gonna be attempted as revolution. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure this will be fine. Oh, an aristocratic revolt from Japan, you say? Wow, isn't that interesting? Curious. I wonder if, by any chance, they'd be willing to release Ainu. Kind of annoying that these other two are getting involved, so I guess I'll just call in Britain or something. Or not, because despite being my ally, right, they don't like me enough to actually care about being my ally. I forgot about that. Yeah, alliances mean nothing to Britain. That's okay. Maybe I could take the Ryukyu Islands then. I'll just slap it on there. Alright, we go into Kanto. Seems like there's no issue with just taking the capital. Okay, works for me. So I guess we just kinda do nothing. Actually, there seems to be like no one in Joseon. Maybe we should just naval invade them or something. I don't know. Could have gotten more money out of this, but it is what it is. Okay, they're willing to give them up. Sure. Although it looks like they're not really going to be able to pay me that much. And also, wait a second. They're decentralized. I thought they would release them as a fully centralized country. That's embarrassing. I had plans to like conquer them and everything, but we can't even do anything. Oh, that sucks. Well, good luck recolonizing that, buddy. Ooh, yes, we should absolutely get this guy. Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're 50 years in. Time for a vibe check on the entire world. Ottomans are still kicking. Pretty impressive. They took Is that Cairo? That is Cairo, okay. They even managed to grab Cairo. Although, I don't know what happened here, but okay. Russia's doing surprisingly quite a lot in Arabia. Although that is, of course, because the Ottoman Empire is also in the Russian Empire. French power bloc is doing quite well. I think it's the first time I've seen France actually create their own empire bloc rather than like a trade bloc. And as everybody expects, Prussia has done nearly nothing this game. Not sure if I can name any of my playthroughs from the past few updates, actually, that they have formed Germany or even the North German Confederation. US and Mexico going to war finally. I kind of expected that to happen earlier, but I guess it gave Mexico the chance to get outpaced even harder. So, good for them. Dutch have lost the East Indies, France is going crazy in Indochina, and we, of course, are starting our conquest of Japan and China. Other than that, relatively normal world. Except for this, don't worry about that. We actually are getting a surprising number of migrants into our country, a lot more than I expected, because frankly, I didn't think anybody would be allowed to move around. But fortunately, because we're in the British Empire, they do have freedom of movement, giving us quite a bit more immigration. I remember when Zululand had like maybe 800,000 people, but here we are. I think what I should be doing right now is probably focusing on the economy, like getting corporate charters, probably joint stock companies. Because frankly, like the biggest problem we have is just that we don't have enough capital, not enough money flowing through the country. And I just realized we're however long into this video and I haven't actually put the thing on that I was supposed to put on for the video, so yeah, let me just do that, take that off. There we go. Now we're ready to make some money. By doing this, I'm just making sure that all of the gold mines in my country are either going to be bought by me, or they're going to be bought by people in the country, at least in theory. Not really sure what's going to happen to these gold mines. We don't get any of the dividends right now, but we are getting some of the minting effects, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, we can change the government a little bit. By much, but okay. Again, we're going in for a bit of a gamble, but I think we can probably puppet Formosa. At least turn them into a tributary, I mean. Possible that France could join, Portugal could join. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people could join. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one did, but I still don't think that would be that big of an issue, since we really just need to naval invade one island. It's not that big of a deal. Government's illegitimate, and it looks like there's no possible legitimate government, so that's cool. Even if I decrease taxes, well, I mean, we could do that. Triple the economy a little bit, that's fun. Wealth voting, finally. Now we can have somewhat of a government. Kind of. At the very least, we can try to start enacting slavery banned. Although the landowners aren't going to like that, so we're going to start off with something simple like legacy slavery. There goes Formosa. Now, the great thing about having a tributary as a subject, instead of just owning the land directly, is that while we don't actually collect taxes from any of these territories here, since we're not incorporating them, on the other hand, having a subject, they'll just collect the taxes for you and then give you some of that income. Because they will actually have this as an incorporated state. It's kind of why I would have preferred to be able to pop out a few countries from Japan. I think that would have been nice, but it is what it is. Oh my god, Russia has just puppeted the entire Ottoman Empire. That is crazy. They're having a scarily good game. You know what, actually, let's not do this yet. Instead, we'll do this. And we also have way more bureaucracy than is worth having, because, like, we're not getting any taxes out of this, so having these is kind of useless. Oh yeah, another revolution, because I can't have any peace in this country. Ooh, I kind of want the gold company. I was gonna go on a whole rant about, like, okay, let's look at what we have, what's available, what makes us the most money, which right now is basically just like furniture and coal, wood-based products, that kind of thing. But I mean, gold is just literal money. I probably am going to take that, yeah. I think we could probably invade UA at this point. It's a little bit risky considering we know that Prussia's going to join and there's a chance other people might join. But while Prussia has a strong army, they have a navy that's actually weaker than mine, so I don't know if I care that much. I think the naval invasion and subsequent just invasion of the entire country is going to be too fast for them to actually get people over. So I don't think it matters. Yep, there's Prussia, as we expected. The Prussian Navy has arrived. Not a big deal, I don't think. Again, their navy is, in theory, weaker than ours, despite the fact that they do have monitors and ironclads at this point. And we've managed to secure the beachhead, which is perfect. So, let's go ahead and grab our other army, send them right in there. And push. We need you to go. We need to make sure that, now that there's a front open, Prussia doesn't send some people over like you. That would kind of suck. And yes, it looks like we're defeating the Prussian Navy, which is perfect. There we have it. Another tributary. Meaning we own, I mean, we have a significant population in our quote-unquote empire now. This one province alone is like 18 million people. And our new subject is a total of 40 million people. Nice, nice. As long as we keep the army and navy strong though, we should have enough prestige, so it's not that big of a deal. Right, we are still technically at war with Prussia. We'll just accept a white peace. Perfect. I think this is actually going to be where we leave things off for today. Never did become a recognized power, and that's because of one main thing that is so difficult to get rid of. Otherwise though, we are a wealth-voting, somewhat kind of democratic constitutional monarchy. Decent institutions, we have a population of 42.7 million, a lot of which is just in this one province we own, and of course, our colonies in Japan. Number 15 army, which of course I should probably try to improve. Number 6 navy, which is not too bad. Number 9 GDP. Number 8 population, so on and so forth. Anyway, yeah, Zulu, one of the countries of all time. Not the easiest start, very difficult to try and catch up with everybody. Being able to invade Japan and Qing and grab a few subjects was like an incredible stroke of luck. But sadly, because Bengal has emerged as one of the greatest powers in the world, we don't have much of an opportunity to invade anything over this direction. But I can't say I'm dissatisfied because I've had an incredible amount of luck this run. All the stuff that happened over here was just insane. So we're gonna leave it there for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to leave a like, that'd be appreciated, of course. But for now, this is Corbett signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. Big shout out to the patrons for this month. All these people receive early access to videos, so if you want to yourself, it is literally just $1. If you want to donate more, you can, but you don't really have to. I would like to give a special thank you to those people though, including Erica, Baby Cow, Le Quebecer, Nick Steffel, Cuberoot, AG Forero, Ben Motram, Quiet Guy, Torvalved, Ambient Cyan, James Levy, Luke78776, and Robert.